Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to ATG Syndicate and After Dark. We are the Syndicate today. I am joined by my good friend, Jason Theobald, a.k.a. Scooby. I'm Jeff Black, and we were without our third wheel, Jason Roberson. He is definitely in Dubai right now, selling some company to some rich Saudi prince, if I know him by now. But we miss you, Robo. But today we have filling in his slot the awesome Taylor DeHaas. She is joining us, or DeHaas, sorry, is joining us. Yeah, I know. I was like, damn it.
Don't feel bad.
Every time.
He butchers everyone's name.
It's hooked
badly.
on phonics. My mom refused to get it. I blame my mom. You guys just start me a GoFundMe at this point. I mean, send me back to third grade. I'll be like, A before G or I before like there. But she is joining us all the way from Dallas. She has one of the most successful coaching business scale operation. I don't even know how to describe it. But what you do is you go out there and you help people build a coaching brand that creates so much impact that they're able to leave their day-to-day jobs. They're able to pursue passions. You take people and you help them get their dreams through teach them how to do marketing. Was that well said, Jason? Did you approve? Okay. I got Jason's approval.
That is all accurate, yes.
Okay, so we're like an angel of marketing from heaven itself joining us. Okay, this is amazing.
She's going to need you to do her voiceovers for now.
I know, I'm going to be like, welcome to Taylor's podcast. Oh, yeah. So, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Today, we decided we're going to talk about how you would kind of go if you were to start a business and you were to want to start growing it, and how you would build a marketing plan to that. And it's going to start unfolding, because oftentimes when you see marketing stuff, they're like snippets along a long journey in a business. And I know from owning a gym for 9 years, my marketing journey looks way different. I know from owning a coaching brand, my marketing journey looks way different. I know Jason is over there nodding his head. He owns a supplement company, a hormone company, law background. You have a media, journalism, now sales coaching. Actually, you did coach for a little bit too, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
That's how I built my business.
Yes,
Absolutely.
exactly,
Yeah.
right? So we have this whole bit, a lot of us have these different backgrounds. So the one thing is we could say marketing changed for us as we evolved our brands. Mm-hmm. And I could actually say I think I've gotten like more rudimentary in my marketing the more my brand's evolved, where I used to like think about like way more complex. And now I'm just like, how simple is it to be digested? And I kind of think about it that way. But let's get into this. Let's introduce you first and foremost. Cleveland, Ohio, right? Is that the background? The Browns? Where?
Everyone thinks that I'm from there because if you have followed me, I reference it, I miss it. No, I lived there for 4 years, but I am from Dallas originally. But with my TV news background, I bounced around from city to city. Went to college in Missouri, go Tigers, and that's really it. So now I'm in Dallas currently, but I was laid off in 2019 from my TV job, and long story short, I had already been so immersed in the bodybuilding space, the powerlifting space, and so I was coaching my friends for free. I thought, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna start a business. I had a really great coach at the time. I was working with Lane Norton, and so I thought, well, I've seen how this kind of looks. I think I could try this, and I didn't realize how much I hated the industry I was in until I was laid off. Yeah, until I was laid off. And, I was making $30K a year with a master's degree, and I was treated...
That had been painful. Yeah, it's painful. Yeah.
And you're told in school too, like everyone tells you, all of your professors, like, you're not going to make money. This is for impact. And there's a limit to that. Absolutely. Yeah. Because I was working 4 part-time jobs with a full-time job, like career. So anyway, I started my business, and I knew I had 6 weeks before they actually were finally going to cut me off. And so those last 6 weeks, I did everything I could, and I hit my first 5K before I ever left TV news, just from literally hustling and taking tons of messy action. And in the course of scaling...
Messy action. Define that real quick, because I think that was a key.
Yeah.
Two words.
That's how we ran our businesses for the first 3 years.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I remember when you told me like how to do a formal check-in. You blew my mind. I'm like, what do you mean there's a structure organized way to do this?
Yeah. Right. And I'm sure this will come up in multiple parts of this podcast. But messy action to me, I think that we overcomplicate and we paralyze ourselves from even taking that first step. And so for me, my back was up against a wall. I mean, I wasn't making enough money to save anything. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to reach out to everyone. I didn't know what a DM strategy was. I just was talking to people, people at the grocery line, right? Oh, looks like you're eating healthy. Like, you know, you get comments when you're buying your food at the grocery store. Actually, I'm a coach. Oh my God, really? Give me your information. I mean, I was just telling 10 people every day what I did anywhere that I was at, in my group fitness classes, at, you know, my office, like wherever, people that I was interviewing for work.
Wait, you were doing this in a time you could have built your business on social media, correct?
Yeah, and
she was hitting it on every
I
angle.
was.
Also saying the in-person, that's key, because most people just sit at home all day and just think that's going to do something.
And that's the thing, is like, I'm sure that we will dive into DMs because that's a popular topic, and so I won't go down that rabbit hole yet. But, you know, at the end of the day, people have been watching you do your thing for so long. And so I started my Instagram in 2012. I didn't have many followers. It was like pictures of my Garmin watch, my oatmeal, like dumb stuff. I was just documenting my fitness journey, right? So when I finally said, hey, I'm coaching, a few people did come out and say, hey, I want to hire you. But I was charging next to nothing intentionally just to get practice, because all I was trying to do was get, you know, I think I needed 10 clients, maybe 15 to match my salary. And so that's what I did. And I asked all of my friends if they would join in, and I gave them like a grandfathered rate. And so, you know, I think that we oftentimes overcomplicate the whole start because we think, okay, I'm going online, I have to go online solely. Just talk to people, right? Like, all of your friends know that you're into health and fitness. If they don't, then I don't think you should start a coaching business in health and fitness. But people already knew. I've been the fit friend, right, for as long as I can remember. And so people were ready to pay me when I was finally doing that.
Did you find that, because for me, I had a different experience. I remember when I opened up Iron House, like, no one from my friends and my family came. It was like, oh, that one hurt. You said it went pretty well. At what point did it kind of drop off and you went, oh crap, I've got to do something different?
I didn't even let that happen. I literally was so stressed about not having money because I was not going to stop prep. I was not going to not pay Cliff Wilson. I was not going to have to move back to Dallas. I had a boyfriend in Cleveland. I was going to do anything I could. So I was picking up more cycling classes. I did in-person training. I started freelancing for multiple supplement companies because I knew I could write, obviously. And so I just, anything I could, I had 5 part-time jobs that matched my salary within 60 days, and then coaching was supplemental. And I kept all of those part-time jobs until I was making about $300K a year because I was so afraid to lose that stability. So I just really was kind of a psycho. Like, I know that sounds weird, but there just wasn't.
I don't know if that's it. I think that's how you got to.
I agree with you, man. I think what I've seen, and I've noticed this has been something more alarming. And there's a guy who I know, and he's wanting to like just start a random business. And he's like, well, I think I'm just going to quit my job. And I was like, what? You're going to do what? Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if that's wise. He's like, no, you go all in. I'm like, no, you go all in like with your part-time hours. And if that means you work another 40 hours on top of your 40, that's what you kind of do by going all in until this becomes trade. Like, I shudder to think about trying to build a coaching brand without like taking 5 years in a corporate gym environment to really learn the gym industry before I ever left.
There is this weird phenomenon that I see with clients I've had, with coaches I talk to, where after they maybe leave their job or whatever, I'm an entrepreneur. I won't have another W-2. Get yourself a fucking job. Like, I think people think I'm joking when I say that, but I truly had 4 part-time jobs scaling my business. Like, make sure your bills are paid. If your payments are defaulting left and right, we have a problem. You know, like, you don't have a business. You have a hobby that's kind of making you some money on the side. And I just think that's important to say, because my clients will ask me, at what point should I quit my job? When you have 3 months of bills in your account right now. If you knew, in my opinion, and I know that everyone will have a different thought on that, but in my opinion, if you have 3 months of rent, bills, expenses saved up, go for it. Give yourself some cushion. If you have a family, different story probably. Yeah, but I'm saying, like, me as a single person, I know I can make that work if I have 3 months of cushion.
I agree with that. I think that's why
I waited way longer. I'm much more conservative. I think I was making triple at my law job, and I was still hanging on to the law job. I don't know if it was because I didn't want to let go of that identity part of me, or it was like I had to see this thing just continue to climb. And I kept thinking, man, this thing's going to fall off. This thing's going to fall off. And it just kept going up. So then I finally went all in. I probably personally would want 6 months, but that's just me, you know.
But even still, like, you could tell somebody that and they'll have 6 months saved. Because I've got 2 clients I can think of literally right now that they're making more in their personal training job. And every 3 months we have the same conversation. When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And so I find that if you truly have a 6-month exit plan, it ends up being 12 and it never happens. And that's the only reason I say create a 90-day action plan, because you don't stick to it. You might have, but I don't see that with a lot of people.
I see it.
I agree with what you're saying there. I think that just a lot of people now, when they decide to like start a business, they don't realize like the work that goes to business. I think this is us getting into start talking about like the marketing stuff, right? Like I was really grossly naive when I left my corporate gym world and went out on my own and even had to file my first tax return. I was like, I'm supposed to be doing what? I'm supposed to be keeping record of this. You know, I went to business school, but you're not paying attention to half those classes. Let's just be honest. I mean, like, what did we all retain from that? And even then, it's a whole bunch of people talking about theory, and theory doesn't really play well in business, I found out. So what I tend to see is people who want to go start a plumbing job in this case. And it's like, well, I'm just going to completely quit. I'm like, but you've never plumbed a day in your life. And you're going to go get like this franchise and that plumbers that you don't know how to talk to about anything.
Yeah, terrible idea.
Do you know what? Yeah. But that's what that's what a lot of people think it is. I'm like, that's not really it. So I think at this point, let's kind of talk about like your journey. Let's go in at this point. 2019, bam, you're hit. Boom. You're telling everybody you're doing what you're doing. Come see me. I'm the fitness girl that will help make your dreams come true. How did that explode from the point of where we're at? You know, you had your 3 months saved up, you're making this money. At what point did it kind of go, I need to evolve? And how was your business at that point?
This question it's hard to answer because I really think that I looked down for so long that I never looked up to really think about a vision. Like I didn't think, how is this going to change? Because again, I not to get in the weeds of it, but just to set the tone for everybody, you know, August of 2019, I was laid off. October of 2019, my boyfriend passed away. 2020 is COVID. I'm also prepping because that's the only thing I could control at the time. And that felt like my safety. Like I could control this. And so I was working sun up to sundown. I had been teaching spin classes for 10 years. Okay. That was already a constant. So, and I've always been somebody who networks. And if I'm at the gym, like I know the owner. If I'm at a class, I've got, you know, the popular ones, right? Like I'm networking everywhere I'm at. So everything I did was eat, sleep, breathe business. I didn't feel like I needed a break. I didn't feel burnt out. I was chasing this because there was no plan B in my mind. So with that being said, like I would end every cycling class with either like, tag me, I'll shoot you a free workout. Tag me, I'll do a free nutrition audit. Like I was getting in personal training with my gym owner because I knew that they needed another trainer. I knew I had the credentials to do that. So I was just trying to put myself in any place and everywhere that I could be. I remember joining a yoga studio. I don't even do yoga, but just so I could meet more people that I knew would want nutrition coaching. So that was my plan of attack. Now, being a journalist for so long, writing is easy to me. I know how to market. I already knew that. Now, did I know social media tactics? Not necessarily, but I was already posting 3 to 4 times a week. And this is before Reels. This is before that was even a thing, right? So I already had this cadence, but if you go back, it was just inspiration or like little tips. If I would go on vacation, I would take a picture of my icon meals and I would talk about it. I was on my stories every damn day. Like I was honestly just making it impossible not to get value every time you saw my shit. Every time you saw Taylor, you were going to know you have a problem and I can solve it for you. I wasn't pitching necessarily. I was just like, this is what I do. And that's one thing that I want coaches to get from this. You are the result that somebody wants. And everything you do in your life, because I know what you're thinking, oh, but my life is boring. Yeah, so is mine. I go to bed at 9 p.m. But that breakfast you make every damn day, your ideal client is struggling to just do that. They're relying on coffee, right? Like every little thing you do, every workout, everything you do is literally what you're trying to coach them. So you just take what you're doing every day and make your story like a vlog, right? Kind of a day in the life of, right?
I think right there, and I just want to stop real quick.
Yeah.
That sounds like super simple advice, and it is, but it's very effective, right? Like it's super effective to start that way. All you got to do is show them your day. Like you've already mastered a lot of these things that is tough for them. And I forget those things because it's so easy now for me because I've done this 20 years. But you have new followers coming in all the time. So like it makes total sense. If you're struggling to like think about what you're gonna do for content, just start putting your day out and why you're doing it, right? Like that seems like the easiest way to overcome like a paralysis analysis thing, because people struggle to get started. So that's a good piece of advice, I feel like.
My best, and this is for if you already have clients, my best piece of advice for content ideas is at the end of every check-in with a client, at the end of every call with a client, whatever, I want you to think of 2 ideas. Your client did something, said something, asked a question that directly relates to a very specific topic, right? Because here's what's not going to scale you from day one. 5 ways to get more protein. I'm bored. I saw that on Pinterest. How to lose 10 pounds. I'm bored. I saw that at the grocery store checkout line. How Sarah lost 10 pounds with this 30-second trick. Oh, I want to swipe. Show me. It could be cream of rice versus, a donut. But I'm just saying, like, if you can relate every single thing to what you do, to what a client does, to what you heard, what you saw, like that is what is going to make somebody say, oh my God, Jason knows me. Jeff knows me. I want to hire them, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where I see the struggle is we're starting out so vague and then we don't know what to do. You know what to do. Take your day and find 6 pieces of content just with your personal day. You'll find way more than you think.
Yeah.
Do you find that the resistance is people, in my case, the reason I don't like to do content is because I see other people doing content. So therefore I go, well, she's already done better. That I was going to do that exact same thing. She just did it better. All right. Well, I'm just not going to do it. And I think that that's like a defeatist thing. How much do you have people who just say, I don't want to do that because I've already seen so-and-so do it? The pushback of always looking to reinvent the wheel, should I say. Because I think in all businesses, anyone who, even maybe you, Logan, could say this too. When you're looking to put something out there, put something that you do, you're always looking to reinvent the wheel. People, I think, when they approach it. So it almost paralyzes them where they just don't do shit. Is this a real phenomenon or am I just alone out there and I do a lot of drugs? And
I tell my clients, your feed is saturated with top-notch coaches, industry leaders. Your ideal client doesn't know who the fuck Jason Theobald is.
Sure.
They don't know what the fuck functional is.
Yep.
So you feel like you're reinventing the wheel, but it's the first time your audience has seen that idea. Put it out there.
Can I please jump in on this real quick? Because you're speaking.
Sure, yeah, no.
Make sure this thing is on. There we go. First of all, about the creating content, what you were talking about doing it on a daily basis, and how you were doing it almost like a vlog. Again, I won't go into the whole thing, but you are speaking my language. Whenever I have my channel, like that was my favorite thing to do is vlogs. But just to throw this out here for a piece of value too, a lot of the pushback that I get about creating content in any kind of way, but especially whenever you start talking about doing it daily and multiple times a day, like I think you said 6 pieces of content a day. My first go-to recommendation is 3 stories and a horror post, a feed post. And the reaction I've gotten to that is like insane. Like I can't, like how would we possibly, one phrase, document versus create. Stop trying to set things up. Stop trying to make things perfect. It wastes time. People don't care. They don't like it. They don't respond to perfect things anyway. They respond to you. And so, like, to your question, you are reinventing the wheel just by being yourself, I think. And like you were talking about, instead of like going with trendy stuff, I think that if you just put yourself out there, like you're saying, just go, you're automatically different because you're you. But creating as you go, it's like, do you own a business? Yes. Do you have customers? Yes. Take your $1,000 phone out of your pocket. Take some pictures. Take some videos. When you're sitting down at home doing nothing that night, post them. Like, it sounds simple, but it is. Like, you have,
I mean, right, I think, with your issue, I think about it. Everyone who's ever went viral, a lot of those things have been said before, but people like the way they delivered it, their personality. Your personality is going to deliver a message about PCOS different than I'm going to deliver it. You know what I mean? And so people are going to want to hear you because they follow you.
True.
You know what I mean? So like when I do it, I know if someone's already said it, but I'm just like, this is my take,
Great. Let's break it out a little bit deeper than that though. How do you advise people who don't want to do it to start doing it? Do you like coaching when you say your business won't live? Because I try to tell my people that all the time. When they get asked for advice about any business, I'm like, if you don't like post, people just aren't going to know you exist. People just aren't going to go Yellow Pages and see if that's even a thing anymore. Damn,
It is not a thing,
I just showed my
I know what
age
you're
here on the
talking
pod.
about.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. You're starting a business. Coaching is your skill set. Businesses have to market and sell. You can't avoid that or you will not have a business. That's really as simple as it is. If you hate social media, then find something else. Go get a 9-to-5. It's real easy. Do you want it or do you not want it? I mean, really, you don't have to post twice a day. I mean, when I think about the cadence, like 2019, 3 posts a week. 2024, 2 posts a day. YouTube, podcast, like it evolves with you. There will never be a time from right now that your business needs less content. Emails, podcasts, lead magnets, landing pages, ads, like it all grows. And so if you can't even do 1 to 2 or 3 posts, let's figure out where the resistance is. But if it's because, oh, Jason didn't have to do that, well, that's fucking stupid and that's ignorance.
Can I ask this question then?
Yeah.
What happens when family and friends say, well, Taylor, I noticed like this is the 4th email this week I've gotten from you.
You can unsubscribe.
Or the 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I guess, yeah, because what I'm getting at is you're going to have people, friends, family who are going to say, kind of make little digs at your business. Like I can't tell you how many people I could tell you who. Really? Yeah. Dude, like Bev, who's like lover, like my mom to me, told me that my gym would go bankrupt if I painted my walls black. And I was like, bet. And they went black.
Who was it? Who?
Bev, like my mom. Oh. She's like, no, it'll just make it look so small. And that was one of those, I was like, I don't know. But like what I'm getting at is I've heard this before because in any business, and I have friends who do other stuff, music and all that, they feel like they just don't want to be out there so much. And I'm like, you're thinking about your friends and family who are giving you this feedback. You're trying to break through to that other layer of people who don't know who you are.
You know, I never even started, well, I don't have 2 Instagram accounts. I never, like my personal became my business one because I think people forget you are the business right now. Like people have to, it's so cliche, we all hear it, but they have to like, know, and trust you. You can have the best information out there, but if they think you're an asshole or they can't relate to you in some capacity, right? Like even something as simple as weight loss, right? Like I may have a client who is struggling with weight loss resistance. They know damn well I work with Jason, but because they have trust with me, they're going to hire me to take them through that. Do you know what I mean? Like they have to know and like you and trust you already. And so I think it's important that these coaches understand if you don't have thick enough skin to handle any kind of questions, because your family, some of these people that love you, they're not saying these negative things because they want to tear you down. They just don't understand it. I mean, my parents too, it took me 2 days to call my mom and say, hey, I was laid off and I am not going back to news. I'm going to start an online business on Instagram. And she was like, okay. She always told me I was going to own a gym one day, and I won't. But like, she's always said that from day one. Like, you're going to own a gym one day. That's going to, yeah. And she's like, if you can make money, then I'm happy. And if you need a place to stay, let me know. And that's all she said. Yeah. And I understand that may not be normal for everybody, but within a year, then they started bragging to all their friends. You know what I mean? Yeah. They saw it, but they had to see it happen first because they don't understand social media. They don't get it. Yeah. And I know people are often afraid of like what somebody will say. Oh, I went to high school with this girl. What's she going to think of me? Who cares?
I think my parents were, they were like, well, you're an attorney. Like, what are you doing? And I'm like, yeah, but this is like my passion and I really like it. And there's like, I can actually make a really good living. And they're like, yeah, but you're going to keep being a lawyer, right? And so I'm like, well, yeah, for a while, And I think when I finally was like a coach and I think for a bit, that's all I had. I don't think I had the other businesses yet. And I think my mom would still tell people, oh yeah, he's a lawyer. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm a coach. I'm a health coach, whatever you want to say. Now I think she's cool to, she's like, oh, he's been an entrepreneur. He owns like couple businesses, and I think she's proud of it. But I agree with you. They didn't understand it at all. Like, you're doing what?
For you about identity though, because I think that you can probably relate. It took me like 2 years of being in business. So if somebody would ask me like, hey, what do you do for work? I would always say, well, I was a TV reporter, but now, like I had to preface it because I don't think that I felt embarrassed, but I was like afraid because coaching sounded so lame.
Yes. I did the same. So like when Aiden was coming up through soccer and the parents were on the sidelines, I had both businesses, but I didn't even go into it. I just be like, they asked what I did. I said I was an attorney. And then for a while, I think after I quit with those people, I just let them think I was still a lawyer. I didn't really want to go into it because at that time, we're talking about 2014, no one really knew what a coach was. I mean, it was like really weird for them to even fathom. So, yeah.
Still is like 9 years later.
Yeah, but I think they get it a little bit more. And I just be like, yeah, I'm an online coach and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I kind of did something similar. Yeah, I get it.
Because I think that's part of it too, is like, I work with a lot of very successful people. Like they're good at their job. They're not, working at Kroger trying to start a business. Like they have really high paying jobs and they're worried about the just coaching sounding not as qualified, right? Like they've spent money on these degrees and I did too. I spent over 6 figures on my journalism degree. I mean, so I don't know. I think that's part of it too, is not maybe what family will think, but like internally, am I okay?
Yeah.
Because it was such an identity thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was about to say, my mom was totally ashamed when I went to Homeland Security.
When you left there.
To go be a personal trainer. She's like, what are you doing? And that was just how she was raised. You got a blue collar job. It was this thing. And it was like, oh, but I'm good at it. It is here, Brittle to Unbreakable, my life story, an autobiography that can't resist being a self-help book. BrittleToUnbreakable.com. In it, you're going to find probably the most raw journaling session, as my good friend Jason Theobald says about the book. I chronicalized my life with a brittle bone disease known as osteogenesis imperfecta and culminated how I got into bodybuilding through being bullied and later on steroid use and ultimately modern medicine not wanting to wipe away the stain of suicide I had on my soul. And it led me to find psychedelics to find ultimate relief. I have an honest conversation here, BrittleToUnbreakable.com. And if you'd like some health and fitness coaching, I kind of do that too.
I'm Taylor DeHaze, and I am here helping you scale your business all the way from getting your first 10 clients to getting off the gym floor all the way to your first 7 figures. If you have any questions about that or want to learn more about me, you can find me on Instagram at TaylorFit. That's TaelerFit.
Hey, I'm Jason Theobald, functional health coach. I own ScoobyHealth.com. We have a group of about 13 very educated coaches that can help you out with your functional health journey. I also own AdvancedVitalityHRT.com. And this is a clinic with full service for all your HRT and anti-aging needs. Also, check us out at nevethics.com. I'm a co-founder of that supplement company. Thank you.
You guys can agree, the more you grow it, the more it requires you to bolt on.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, now I'm hiring a sales manager for Iron House there, and I never thought that'd be possible. I've got a videographer, a girl who does, we pay $2,000 a month.
I got more employees than I've ever had in my life right now.
Yeah, just crazy shit. Yep. And that's like, how do you tell someone that when you're just starting like a business like you? That, oh, one day you're going to have like 15, 20 people.
That's the biggest stress to me right now is that many other employees are relying on us to make sure that they pay their bills.
Yep, that's the biggest stress.
Okay. I could see that. I think for me, it's less about that because I know the money will come. It's more of like the scalability and making sure delivery is not impacted. That's what worries me. You know, like, okay, well, are my clients still going to kick ass because now we've got other coaches? That's what
I get that. But like for now at Scooby Health, I'm the only one educating. Right. And then with the clinic, it's not really the same. Like I got all these nurse practitioners on, making 120 a month. If we're not bringing in enough patients, like they don't eat. And, I take that very seriously. So that's more of where like now that I feel that stress that I didn't have before.
Yep.
All right, so we've talked about a little bit of background, kind of giving off a little bit of tangents left and right, which I think is important because I think it's how people see conversations evolve. But we want to kind of like reel it in and start going down the direction of how you would get your first 10 clients online. So, Taylor, how would you even do this? Because you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking like I'm putting a thirst trap pickup. And that's like how I'm doing it, like a picture of me, like in a thong doing stiff leg deadlifts, Jason, I mean, I feel like that's, and be like, look at these glutes.
Sexy.
I feel like I'd sell. But, you know, you don't know where to go. Like, I wouldn't know the first thing to do. I'm more in person with my business. So I would just go have conversations in public. That's easier to me. How would I do it online?
If you're an in-person trainer, let me first just say, don't just go rogue and go online. I would have that like graduation conversation with some of your top performing clients, the ones that you know would benefit from more support, things like that, because realistically, it's going to be more affordable for them versus like in-person PT sessions, right? I'm sure you guys are probably charging anywhere listening from 75 minimum an hour up to 150, depending on where you're living. I mean, I know my coaches that are in, you know, DC or LA, they're charging 125, 175 an hour. So if you have somebody that's paying you 3 times a week, I mean, get them online for $500 a month or whatever, right? I'm making up a number. But I would say have that conversation if you're personal training. Now, if you are just starting out, I would say do something like either a founding members kind of sale or call it whatever you want, but I'm going to challenge you to tell 30 people in your current network about your offer and offer them just a 30-day test run. It's going to be paid, $100, maybe, nothing crazy, but you're going to totally change your life in 30 days. Nutrition, check-ins, all the bells and whistles.
You mean not just their online presence, you mean people in their life like you did.
In person,
I
like,
just wanted to clear that
totally.
up, that network didn't mean the 800 people that are following you on Instagram.
Nope.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think it's actually a dead end for you to go down your followers and just message people. I don't think that is beneficial, because if you've had your social media for a while, I'll use myself as an example. When I started my business, I had about 5,000 followers, but I gained all those followers previously, and I don't even know like who they were. Yeah, maybe from TV. I don't know, but my point is, in the last 5 years, it's only doubled. Like, I haven't grown substantially yet. My business has. So my point is, don't go down that rabbit hole and hold off on the online. But immediately, I think you could get 5 people to say yes to you in 1 week if you just asked people and told them about what you wanted to do, right? Hey, I'm starting this business. I think you'd be a great candidate. I'm doing something for the first 5 people, whatever.
Now, are we doing this free or at a very low
$100.
rate? Okay.
Like, $150. Because in my opinion, I don't like the free because they don't end up doing it and you don't get the testimonial. I understand what people think. Like, like if there's no buy-in, they're not going to do what you tell them to. But then simultaneously, I want you to clearly define who you want to work with. And we get so hung up on this niche topic. I don't need you to get like so niche down, but ultimately understand what is and is not a niche. Like, moms is not a niche. That is a person. Anyone over the age of 30 is probably a mom. Most people are, right? Instead, what is the problem? If it's weight loss, is it the last 10 pounds? Is it the dad bod? Is it weight loss resistance? Is it just, hey, I'm really freaking good at helping people read a food label? Like, what is it that you're good at? Because mom isn't the problem. It's something else that's the problem. So a niche is a problem, not a person.
So a niche is something that you solve. It's a problem you solve.
Yes. And I see so many people get hung up on this, like, I help high achieving millennials. High achieving millennial isn't the problem, right? Like, and so you're creating this niche that doesn't really exist, and then therefore you're not attracting anyone. Do you?
I have a question. Does that shit even work in a person's bio? Because, like, I asked that. Really? Because I asked that because I'm like...
But not that shit.
That's what I'm trying to understand. Because every time I read something like that, like, I help, like, okay, for the author world, I can speak this. I help people take their pages and become magical delights in other hands. And I'm like, what
I think that there's...
do you do?
When I see some bios, it's all like fluffy, and that's not what I mean. But if you say, you know, helping toddler moms drop 30 pounds in 20 minutes a day or less, that works. Okay, cool.
It's collaborative. It brings a bunch into one sentence.
Yes. That's how I teach it, though. But if you're
I think
like...
that's really smart. I mean, think about it. Every business that is successful had a problem that it solved. That's what it did.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know that I've ever thought about a niche that way, but it does seem right. I like the way you put it, is my point. I don't know that I always thought that a niche really meant that, but I get why you're going that direction, because that's what the best businesses do. It solves a problem.
And if you're somebody, like, I'll use you for an example. Like, you solve so many problems, right? But you've got this functional and bodybuilding kind of world, but like, you could literally have a bio where it doesn't say I help, but it could say bridging the gap between aesthetics and optimal hormones. Like that could be the bio, right? Oh, cool. I can look jacked and feel good. No one else is doing that, right? So, I mean, there's a million ways to do it. And if you're doing general weight loss because you're just getting into it, like, because I totally get that. If you've never had a client, you don't know what the hell you do. You know what you can't do, but you just need to be 2 steps ahead of somebody to help them out in the very beginning. And so you very well may be the person who just helps them get their first 10 pounds off without restrictive dieting and high amounts of cardio. That's the niche, right? Like whatever. And then after about 25, 35 case studies, then you can start to see patterns and trends. But I would say that's how you get your first 10 clients would be number 1, you network, you just use your network. Number 2, we need to niche down. Number 3, we have to solve that problem every single day on social media. Because if every time I'm like, hey, why don't we have clients? And you're like, I hate getting on my stories. I hate social media. We have to figure out where that friction is and eliminate it. Like there can't be friction.
I think where I struggled with it, when you say, when you're talking about this, I'm like, okay, like I immediately track. My brain's like, all this makes sense. And then I'm like, but damn it, I want people to know who Jeff is outside of Jeff on social media, what I'm doing for my business. So where I get torn is making my whole life just to this one segment on there. And I think it's because maybe we came up in the age that my Instagram was just who I personally was. And that was the way it was for so many years. And then people got to know me. And then, so I've always mixed, but I struggle with that. And I say that because I know that if I was to try to come up into the social media world today, that would be hard for me to like do. So do you have any advice for that?
It was hard for me too. Yeah. I think I actually openly talked about this with my clients recently, but I had a hard time separating TV Taylor from online Taylor, because if I go back and look at my stories from years ago, it's almost like I'm speaking in TV voice the entire time. Like I didn't know how to market me.
I gotta hear this now.
When we record an ad, you'll hear it.
Okay.
But or my podcast intro has it. But it's like I didn't know the difference because I'm so used to 3, 2, 1. Tonight we're here recording a podcast with Jeff Black and Jason Theobald, and you know what I mean. Like that's how I was on my stories, and I'm like, stop doing that. Like turn that off. I didn't know how to sell me, and then I went through this phase where I did a photo shoot with like sun hats and pastel colors, and I'm like, who is this? Like the Doc Martens have always been there. They just weren't public. Like I didn't think that they wanted to see like the emo, edgy rocker Taylor, but then I'm like, no, that's me. And so I think it takes time to figure out what that looks like, because your personality in your business shouldn't be different. Not right now, you know? And so I do agree. And I don't even think that that's a time frame. I think it's just like, it feels awkward selling ourselves.
That's a good point. Jay, you got anything?
I mean, I think everyone needs to be their unique self. Like, I think where people get in trouble is they are so different on social media, and then when they do something in person, that's not who they are. Or so then they get on a Zoom with their clients, and it's not the same energy, you know? Like that's a problem. So I think, you know, just literally be yourself and don't be afraid to be yourself. And I mean, as far as you, like you're a different personality, I would think just show that on your social.
9 out of 10 times when a coach is like, I don't know if I can do this anymore, I'm so burnt out on social media, it's because they have a facade on social media. They feel like they're exhausting themselves because it's not them.
It doesn't jive well with their
But they don't
self.
see that. That's when I'm like, well, let's review this. Like, is this you? Right? It's like when you see a coach promoting food freedom and you know damn well they're binge eating. It's like that doesn't, of course you're going to feel like a fucking imposter. Like you haven't mastered that yet. So I think also like staying in your lane, but understanding it's going to be messy. It's going to be ugly. I routinely post on my story, stories from 4 years ago that are just like me promoting a $9 hit guide. Like that's also what I want to say too, is my first 4 months of business, I ran a challenge called 6 Weeks to Shred for $29, off brand. I created a home hit guide for $9, also not on brand. I did a 25 days of hit miss guide, not on brand.
Hit miss.
Oh yeah, because Christmas, baby. And then I created a what the fuck is a macro guide. Like I had all these guides and challenges, and damn it, I was out there selling. But like none of that made any sense. But all of that helped me send the messy emails and practice creating a landing page and practice selling. Like that's the thing with selling. I could teach you DM strategy all day, but at the end of the day, you're gonna get that practice without even knowing it if you just talk and promote and create and do. Like don't wait for the perfect opportunity. Like just put it out there.
So
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, So you talked about like these books and these. I guess they're a lower offer. You don't think that's like? I see people every once in a while, they say what they're gonna say in their caption, like, in the message, write interested, and then we'll be in touch. That I assume they have a guide that's free, and they're gonna provide that to them, and that gets them interested. You don't think that's a way to lead to get the client? It's more like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is that a way to do it off the bat, or
Absolutely. I think you can, but here's the problem. Okay, so if we're talking about a lead magnet, aka something free that's going to provide information, whatever, for you to put something out there, the whole point is to collect emails and to spark interest.
Correct. Yep.
So if you're day one, I don't need you messing with emails and landing pages and systems. I don't think you need to do that.
Yeah.
What I would say is, I'm looking for 5 people who want to drop 10 pounds next month without X. Tap this button and I'll DM you. Like, that to me works with an audience that has never seen a post like that before.
Okay.
That's going to tell you if you have any warm audience. Now, if I were to do that, it would never work because coaches are like, LOL. No, I've seen that. I know you're trying to sell me.
Yeah, other coaches give like the
Right.
worst advice to other coaches on marketing. I'm like, just because you wouldn't do it, don't mean I shouldn't do it. You know.
So to me, I try to do anything that can test. And again, to clarify what I said before, I don't think you should put out $9 hit guides. Okay, I did that because COVID was hitting, and I was like, all right, I'm going to get ahead of this before anyone else does. I'm going to build the shit out of my email list. But ultimately, do anything for free you can. Your best information, put it on the internet, because I'm telling you right now, they cannot take that and actually execute with it. So that's why I openly talk about DM strategies and sales and marketing. I talk about all my shit. But I know that when you go to actually do it, you're going to crumble because you need guidance. You need support. And that's not me saying that you are not capable of, doing this, but like, you're going to have questions along the way. Yeah. So, when you're first starting out, I love the idea of a lead magnet, but maybe it's not robust with an email list and all of that. And then test out what call to actions work. So for example, if you say DM me blank and no one does, it doesn't mean you suck. Try something different. So on Instagram, you can gamify your stories. So maybe instead of a call to action, let's say you talk about your breakfast or what you ate in a hotel and how you kept on your macros. At the end, be like, tap if this was helpful, not tap if you want coaching. Like, your stories need to nurture them. So don't sell on your stories. Just nurture, nurture, nurture. Provide. So when you
don't like people linking, like...
I should link my book. When I put it in my... Just so, like, we can use me example. I have a book. No, actually, health coaching. If you're doing that,
I would say book is different. Like, you should promote the shit out of that.
So that's an important thing to maybe differentiate as a brand. Like, at what point do you promo something in a story if you do it? Because this is the first I've ever heard this. I've always heard you whore yourself in your stories, and then your feeds where you nurture people.
I'm not really sure I've heard either rules. Okay. Maybe it's because I'm not paying attention and I just do what the fuck I want. I'm dead. But like, I didn't know that was the thing.
That's what I'm saying. I've heard the inverse of this. That's why I'm like, I want to know where this goes.
Yeah.
So if you would have met me, 4 years ago, it was very different. I didn't know any better. And I really do think that me constantly promoting my offer did work. However, it got to a point, I remember it was when I actually created my coaching program. And when Fitness Coach Academy came out, I launched it hard because it was the first time, no one knew about it. Okay, great. But then I turned it evergreen, meaning you can buy it anytime. And I was like, I feel weird selling this every day. Like, my audience is tired of it. They're no longer reacting. So I challenged myself for 6 months to double my sales, but never pitch it publicly. And just really...
No pitch.
Nope. I just doubled my volume in the DMs.
Okay, so we're going to have to get that strategy.
So your Instagram was just nurturing...
But I would teach them how to get their first 5 clients, right? And then I would say, tap this and I'll send you the XYZ guide to help. So like, I was creating a ton of lead magnets to help them. So they were getting so much free stuff. And that's where, and I know we're gonna talk about sales, but that's where the reciprocity comes into play. If people feel like you're always helping them, when they're ready to pay you, they feel indebted to you.
Yes.
And so that's what I did.
And that's why even to this day, I answer shit in my DMs when I know a lot of coaches are not doing or even taking it.
They're missing out. I mean, 100%. Like, say whatever you want on the DMs, but like, that's where the magic happens.
I've heard people say, well, it was time to get a coach, so I remember when you helped me.
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah.
So all that to say, I mean, I don't think you have to pitch because, again, people are not dumb. They see you. They know you have an offer. They don't need to know anything else. If you're constantly doing testimonials, promotions.
Class, I want to ask.
Go ahead.
I just want to be like, okay, so does that mean like in my caption then on my feed, do I put a call to action? at the bottom?
Yes, but
Okay, because this is where I start getting like, the rules of X to the Y. That's why I sucked at. I hated algebra. I was like, how does letters equal other letters and then numbers?
I was a
What the
mathlete.
hell is this shit?
I was literally on the calculator team. Isn't that weird? Can you picture that?
Math was my least favorite too.
Hell yeah. I mean, I was the kind of student though, where if I was bad at something, I was like, oh fuck no, I'm going to own this shit.
No, not me. I was like,
so
towel
that's
thrown in.
In college, I dropped it. I had to take calculus, and I could get an economics degree, either a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science. So you need a science to go like on to be like an economist and like get a master's. But you got to take calculus and some of these other things. I'm like, nah, it's okay. I'll just get a BA.
So the call to action to your story, again, I think my perception today is different than 4 years ago, but the only time I have a hard call to action, like 3 spots left, let's work together, whatever, is when I'm running a launch, a Black Friday sale, something like that, right? So we recently had a big birthday sale for Fitness Coach Academy turning 3. And so of course every day I'm like, 5 days left, 4 days left. You know what I mean? Of course I'm pitching. But that's because every other day of the year, I am literally just providing value. You cannot watch my story without thinking, damn, Taylor's clients always are fucking crushing it. They know. And then they'll DM me, hey, so we've been chatting for a while. Can we talk more about working together? Absolutely, let's do it, right? So I'm not gonna go into the sales realm, but your call to actions can also just be like, hope this helps. Drop a comment for part 2. You know, it doesn't have to be, I think DM me sale does it. Yeah, no. And I did that for like years, but no more link in bio. You can put a link in your bio, but no more link in bio.
So many salespeople that like.
So you don't like the fill out the link, the apps in the bio. You don't like that?
No, because people know they can do that.
I agree with that. See, I always thought that was my thing. Like, even if you're, and people be like, well, if they're a new follower, how are they gonna know what you do? I'm like, well, I post your transformation every damn week. Like,
in your bio, though, so you have, this is the order I teach it. So you've got your name, Jason Theobald, and your name is the only part that is searchable. So any keywords need to be in there. So like Jason Theobald, functional, comma, hormone, comma, bodybuilding, PC, whatever you want to say, like that's the searchable part. Then the actual context, I help statement, some kind of humble brag. So like 1,000 plus bodies transformed or something like that. Something that's a personality statement. So like mine says Emmy winner and elder emo, like just something that's kind of fun and like whatever. And then a call to action. So coaching plus free resources arrow. So people know.
I just thought of an investment we need to make as a podcast. We need to be able to get where she could be like draw like a Pictionary, like diagram, like in football. Like, you know, where she could have just started drawing that up. Yep, we need to get that for the podcast.
I know what you're talking about.
Next time you come back, you have to like do Pictionary works.
Okay.
But no, that's what I'm saying. Because that way, because she's saying I'm like, okay, these things make sense. But I'm like, man, just seeing it would have done a lot more.
So
what point does a person, you've mentioned DMs a lot. At what point then, once we're pretty much
hot topic, man,
hot
the
topic,
DMs,
let's go for it. Because I know we're getting ready to go to break for our third segment to take us where we go. What do you mean by DMs? Because we basically said, look at her eyes; they're becoming like devilish on the internet there right now.
She knows it's a hot topic, and people don't want to do it.
You know, okay, so this is just because I know if I'm confused, because you just rattled my brains with how to do a story versus a feed, and what to say, what not to say, and how my bio should be, and now I'm like, okay. My whole social media approach is terrible. That's fine.
We've known yours is terrible, mine too.
It's okay. I just like.
Well, okay, we'll give yours okay.
I mean, I just feel like people followed me just with the base fact of like this guy openly talks about drug use. So it's fair. But how? What do you mean about the DMs? Is this like me going into girls' DMs or Jason's DMs? Like, hey, you've got really round hamstrings.
So I don't know how in depth. We'll go in depth later. Correct. This is just surface level.
Yeah, it's however you want to go with it. I'm just saying, like, I think at this point now I'm intrigued to know, like, you keep saying DMs. What the hell do you mean by DMs?
So, first of all, there's inbound and outbound, right? So, for anyone listening, Inbound DMs mean it's a new follower, somebody is inquiring about coaching, anything that's like people are coming to you for. Outbound means you are literally talking to strangers on the internet. This is where people think, oh my God, this is so sleazy. Oh my God, gross. Okay, at the end of the day, are you a scam? Yes or no? No. Great, awesome, not sleazy. Check that. Number 2, are you literally pitching your offer sentence 1? No? Great, awesome, cool. At the end of the day, cold calls work. I'm not having you do that. Billboards work. Not having you do that. But this shit works. Advertising works. You have to bring people into your ecosystem. Probably a pet peeve of mine is when somebody's like, Taylor, I've been posting for 30 days and my engagement is not going up. And I say, who gives a shit? What's the engagement like in your DMs? Because if I open my messages right now, I promise you there's at least 50 unread messages. Oh, God. Because we are fucking moving, right? Like, so I say that because if you are not starting conversations and bringing new eyeballs to your page, you will not have a constant influx of clients. Referrals are not reliable. If you are starting a business in 2024, I don't care how many referrals you get, at some point that well is going to dry up. Referrals are bonuses, but they're not a predictable sales funnel. You have to create an organic sales funnel. So I recommend reaching out to 20 to 30 new people every day, 5 days a week. I mean, I've got a system I could talk you through, but ultimately, that's all I would recommend, 20 to 30 people.
The only thing I've ever heard in regards to the systems of like how to meet the 20, 30 people on the internet is following, like you go on, say, for example, Supras. Like I'm a big Supra fan because of my car. I would hashtag Supra, and then I would go have conversations with people who commented on other Supra things to kind of get them aware of who I am and what I am on my page. I had heard people do that strategy, and they would do that because like on some like Derrick Henry would post like a workout video and someone would comment, what do you do for nutrition? And then like you'll see sometimes a health coach fly in there and be like, this is what I do, meal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hit me up if you need more. And I'm like, that's what I had always seen it done as. And you're shaking your head, and I can see the disdain on your face. So I guess this is a strategy you do not recommend. I'm glad I brought it up.
I've done that when hashtags were important on Instagram, but
they're not?
No. They will make potentially a 1% difference. And that's not like, if you track your food perfectly, the 1% matters. Like that's not the kind of 1% I care about. So what I recommend doing is, let's say that you are working with a client who is struggling with food freedom or whatever the hell, do basic Gen Pop. Cool. Go find a food freedom coach who has anywhere from 25K to 200K followers with high engagement. High engagement meaning there's lots of comments on her stuff, his stuff, whoever. Let's say this coach is talking about food freedom. Oh my God, goals. I wish this was me. Tell me more about your breakfast. Go literally message all of those people privately and give them tips. Hey, Karen, I saw you were struggling with what to eat for breakfast. Here's something that I've tried for my clients. What do you think? Hey, so-and-so, I saw you're struggling with weight loss resistance. I had the same issue and I did this test. Have you taken that one yet? So you're just like making yourself aware. If you can find what I call hotspots, meaning like those comment sections, you're golden, right? On Facebook, go join mom groups. They are gold. Literally go join like Denver moms, Dallas moms, whatever, because moms are gossiping all the time. And if you just control F, health coach, weight loss, fat loss, everyone's going to be talking about what trainer they're working with, what problems they're having. Privately message those people and give them something for free. And that's where, if you don't have anything free to give out, it's either a post you made, a tip, a voice memo, a Loom video. I mean, whatever. I was sending so many Loom videos in the beginning.
What would be something free, like an item? Like, so, I know we want to talk about like how health coaches compare themselves to how Jason and I run our businesses versus how they need to. But what would be something free? If Jason and I were to be like, all right, we're going to sit down and make a free guide, what would we want to do?
I would say for you two specifically, not a guide, but I think what could be helpful is if you did your MSQ and you pick 5 people to do it, to give a Loom video feedback, you'd get 1 million emails with that. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm going to do this, whatever, here's what the audit does. 5 of you who tap this button are going to get a personalized Loom video feedback customized for me.
Jason, if you crush that, I'm going to break your kneecaps. That's a good idea.
Right? But I think nutrition audits are really helpful. Nutrition does better than training because people just assume that if their training is better, they're fine when nutrition is a problem. So I don't recommend training guides. I don't recommend a nutrition guide, a macro guide. Again, I did that. Don't recommend it though. So I would say audits are really great, but call it something different. Like maybe you say, I'm going to give you some tips on how to lose your next 5 pounds by pilling through every meal for 7 days. Fill out this quick form and I'll send you a Loom video feedback. I mean, they just fill out, it could be a Google form. It doesn't have to be anything fancy that you're paying for, but just make a little questionnaire, like a 5-question thing, give them feedback, and they're going to be like, oh my God, no one has taken the time to do this for me.